going on, everybody? I'm Guns for Hire and welcome to the Gun Shop. I want to talk about this, and this isn't originally something that I thought of. I was like reading an article, which I normally do. This is more of a discussion piece based off of a kind of a panel from IGN, and they were talking about this, and I was watching, I'm like, I've got an opinion too, so I want to share this, more of an opinion, and then of course you guys can share your opinions on this. If you want to see the original video from the IGN panel talking about this, the link to that will be in the description below. Go check it out. So the big discussion basically was to do with Call of Duty Ghosts, the upcoming game, and the fact that the character modeling, that you can custom create your character, also includes gender. So now, not only can you change the way that your soldier looks, you can also make it female. Now the question is, as a gamer, and I don't know if this is necessarily, I would assume that this question is more geared towards male gamers. Let's face it, there are way more male gamers playing games like Call of Duty than there are female. It's just the way it is. It's statistics. It's not a sexist thing to say it. It's just the way it is. Teenage males play it way more than teenage females. Although there are way more girl gamers out there now versus the past. And maybe that was social programming. I don't know. It's more accepted now that girl gamers are in there. But I think this may have a more of an impact potentially with the male gamers, and that is, would it make you feel weird if you're going in the game and you're playing in there, especially with a knife, to kill a female gamer? You go up and you see a woman coming up to you, and you're looking at a female face. I don't know how pretty they're going to be. It doesn't really matter, but you're stabbing them. How does that make you feel? Should it make you feel anything? Should there be a difference? We're in a war game. You're fighting against another army. And the woman comes up, you're gonna stab it. Doesn't matter if it's a male or female. And I think this goes way beyond, though, just like equality. You can't just say, well, it's equal rights and blah, blah, blah. There's psychology involved in this. There really is. I mean, if you're looking at it from a real world perspective, there's all sorts of reasons that various governments don't allow women on the front lines. And we're talking about a video game, I get that. I know there's video games out there like, Gears of War, whatever, where, you're chainsawing women. But that's kind of a more fictitious. When you're talking about Call of Duty, it's meant, although it is a video game and fictitious rather, it's meant to simulate sort of familiar surroundings, something you would see in a movie, something to reflect actual military. I mean, that's the immersiveness of it, right? That's why they make them look like soldiers. That's why they use weapons that we can actually see in real life, that are actually translatable. Activities and events that we see that possible real soldiers would come across. I mean, obviously it's always nuclear war, we gotta stop the terrorists, blah, blah, blah. But that's why they do that. So there is this reliance on this sense of immersion by reflecting reality. And the reality is there's not, in the United States in 1994, for instance, the United States military, and only recently sort of turned over, or at least trying to turn over in January of 2013, is the fact that women cannot be on the front lines. They can be attached to a frontline ground troops infantry, but they are not the ones in the front lines. They're not the ones that potentially are going to get into hand-to-hand combat. If there's a skirmish, they're basically trained to hold back, to stay away off the front lines. In the United Kingdom, in the UK, women are not. They are barred from the front lines. They will not go there. And there are various articles as to why they shouldn't be there or why they should be there. And I'm not even going to get into that. I could go on and on about that as well. I mean, I have my opinions, but it's, I read a lot of these things. You could look it up yourself if you want to check it out. But the reality is it's not normal in many of these things. UK, which is a huge component, in the gaming industry, YouTube, United States, it's not normal to have women in there. So it's trying to reflect it, and people are like, oh, it shouldn't be a big deal, but I think there are aspects of it. Personally, I think it is a little bit jarring. I'm not going to really care, to be quite honest. When I'm playing a game, I'm going to go, oh no, it's a woman. Okay, sorry about this. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going in and I'm going to kill them. But maybe that first time might be a little bit, oh, sorry about this. You know what I mean? There is a psychology involved even with real soldiers. So because it's not a normal thing to see in real life, and because these Call of Duty games, for the most part, try and create this sense of immersion by reflecting real scenarios, using real weapons, the M4s, the M16s, whatever, and real life scenarios, it's not actually normal to see a female on the front lines engaged in hand-to-hand combat. You know what I mean? Like, biologically, the woman lacks about 40, I think it's like 40 some odd % of the same upper body strength. You know, overall, women biologically, this isn't a sexist thing, so women are like, oh, he's a sexist, blah, blah. Biologically, we're created, I think women have overall strength of about 2/3 of a man. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm not saying in terms of intelligence, I have nothing to do with that. I'm just talking about biologically in terms of muscle mass and strength and endurance. I mean, these are also, that sort of stuff contributes to certain countries' positions as to why they shouldn't be on the front lines. It's not always that, it's a lot of the stuff is psychological in conjunction with that. So it seems a little bit weird. It's like almost like, do you hit a woman? Would you hit a woman in real life? Well, you see someone in there, and biologically knowing that you're going to overpower them, it may have an effect. It may have an effect. I think overall people just don't care. They become numb to it. I'm not even going to look. Maybe I won't even bother looking. Like, hitting this really pretty soldier. I don't know if it's a male or female. I'm slightly attracted to it. I'm hoping it's a female. Anyway, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's an issue? Like, should they? I know they're doing it because it's a video game, and overall it really doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't. But that sense of immersion, does it make you feel wrong? Does it feel wrong, you think, to actually, stab a woman in this when it's trying to reflect an army that really doesn't have women on the front lines for certain factions, like if the US and everything like that? How does it make you feel? What are your opinions on that? Let me know.